Good morning, good vach. I hope that you and the family are well and that you had a restful Shabbos. And here we are off to the start of another week. Yesterday, reading the Torah portion, I came across something which is quite interesting and very relevant for us at the moment. Amongst other things, and it was a pretty busy parasha yesterday, it speaks about how the Jews traveled through the desert. And the Torah tells us that they were led by the cloud. There was this unique cloud of glory that, that was in front of them. When the cloud would rest, it meant that they had to stay put. When the cloud would rise, it meant that it was time for them to move. And what's interesting about it is that although the Torah is ostensibly just telling us a fact about how the Jews traveled through the desert, it phrases it as if it was this incredible achievement on the part of the Jews, that they conformed, that they listened. And if you think about it, what's the big deal? Particularly when the Torah says that the cloud rested and everybody had to camp, that's where the Torah makes a big fuss over the fact that the Jews listened. Now, I don't know about you. Everybody enjoys a little bit of travel, but extended travel, especially if you have kids, and as they did, they had a whole lot of livestock as well. It's not such fun, especially in the desert. So you'd expect that when it was time to rest, that would have been easy. When it was time to get them to move, that's when we should be praising the Jewish people. Okay, guys, it's time to go again. Pack up your belongings, and so on. So Rabbi Shamshon Raphael Hirsch is a classic German commentator on the Chumash from more recent times. Makes an interesting observation. He says, do you understand what it meant to camp? To camp meant that you had to erect the Mishkan, which was no easy feat. Then you had to erect the entire camp, which was very specific. It wasn't just a matter of putting up your tent. It had to be in a particular formation, everybody in the right places, with the right distances, with the doorways faced in such a way that nobody would encroach on anybody else's privacy. It was a big deal. When that cloud paused and you had to set up camp, you had no idea if you were going to be there for a year or just overnight. So there was this uncertainty. How long are we going to have to stay put? And there was nobody who could give you advance warning. It was 100% when Hashem would choose to tell the Jewish people to go, then they would go. And in fact, there were certain places where they remained for extremely long periods of time. And there were other places where they were literally there such a short time, they didn't even get to use the sanctuary properly, yet they had to build the whole thing from scratch. And he says that's the praise that Hashem gives the Jewish people here in the Torah. Not the fact that they were willing to stop when they were told to stop. The fact that they were comfortable with the concept, the idea of staying put, not knowing when Hashem would give them the green light to move again. And I thought, wow, that is incredibly relevant right now because everybody's itching. Let's get back to normal. When can we hang out with our friends? When can we get to the shops and not have to stand outside in the cold waiting for the appropriate quota of places to be available inside? And Hashem's running this show, like it or not. We don't know if there will be a second wave, if there will be a spike or a peak in July or in September. We don't know. We really don't know where we stand. So the ability to be able to stay put, the ability to be able to accept our circumstances, which Rabbi Hirsch says is the concept of humility, to be humble enough to accept that Hashem wants me where I am, and that's obviously the best place for me to be right now, is an incredible lesson for us to learn about life in general. And when the time is right, he'll, so to speak, lift this cloud, and he'll allow us to move again, and then we'll be able to have those brachas in our lives. Right now, the bracha is in staying, so to speak, a little bit more reserved and a little bit more contained. It's a great lesson in humility, and we're told always that Hashem is found with those who are humble. May Hashem be found with us, and thereby we should see a lot of brachas in our lives. Have a wonderful day, a successful week. Stay safe and stay sane.